Okay, sorry.
My name's Larry Simon, 1603 Powerline Drive, beautiful Laurel, North Carolina, Sparks. I'd like to speak. There you go. Thank you. I'm glad we got some audience at home tonight. It's good that we're finally getting a little bit more transparent than when we've ever been. What I'm concerned about, though, is when something happens in Lowell, Mr. Attaway, as our city manager, you know that the project down on Saxon Avenue has been called off, but you made no effort to let the citizens know that it's been called off. And that's terrible. And it should be transparent. I guess you want to maybe tell the folks at home it's been called off now. Can you let the public know it's been called off?
I have some reports in my city manager reports.
It'd be good to let them know now. They can go back to drinking their tea. But anyway, it's all been called off, thank God. But here's the original deal that y'all voted on in April when the city manager came in and crammed it down your throats. He made the statement there was no due diligence done by the city council, mayor, council. There's no due diligence done. Y'all just went ahead and voted on it in April, said we're going to have those little tin cups out there on 85 down here, which brings to another situation. The $500,000 a year we're getting in taxes on Gateway 85, 85% of it goes back to the people that own the property. They're only paying $75,000 a year. It's already been approved. I talked to David Turberfield tonight before I came to the meeting. It's $580 million as the assets of Lowell to be taxed, not counting the cars and trucks. So your tax rate's going to double if you own anything. Now, if you live in a shack and you ain't got nothing, you ain't got much to worry about. But if you got a nice home or whatever, you're in terrible shape. We got council members sitting here renting property that don't own a daggum piece of property in Lowell is going to vote on this budget tonight, which is terrible. And we need to stop the BS and be honest with the people. In April, Lowell purchased 40 million gallons of water. And they tell us that we only sell 300,000 gallons a day, which is less than 10 million gallons a month. And you want to know where your 120,000 gallons of water you're losing? Over here is your Shrewsbury. He's the public works director. He can't find nothing. He can't find the clock in here, I guess. But it's down on McCampbell Avenue, I'm sure, where you got that meter down there, 200 Saxony Avenue. They get a bill for $32 a month with no meter readings. That's terrible. What are we doing to the people of Lowell? People sitting at home not watching this crap, going to have their taxes doubled tonight. You water and sewer, and how can you charge as much for sewer as you do for water when you're only treating 25% of the sewer of the water you sell? And I talked to you too, Travis, when you came up to the meeting about this deal down on McCampbell Avenue. I told you the truth then, just like I'm telling you tonight. On this map right here, when they had to, it's got the sewer lines. This is that yellow marking. That's where they want to put those tragic things down there for school kids to get killed. But thank God that they came to the census, and it's called Project Husky, and it was in the name of Beacon Partners. But I got all your information, but this other stuff's for the budget later on tonight. But you need to let people know what's going on in this city. And I'm glad you got people at home that can tell other people how crappy this is. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would wish to speak? Okay, if not, we'll move right along. Next is the approval of the minutes. Draft City Council meeting from May 9th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. It's not in there? Okay. Okay. Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Okay. Unanimous. Okay, next is our special presentation. Presentation of the 2023 City of Lowell Employee of the Year.
Mayor, so the Employee of the Year is something that we started last year for the City of Lowell to recognize outstanding employee efforts in the city and give them that commendation that they deserve. And how that works is that all the department heads, they submit their recommendations, and I receive those and score those, and then we develop the Employee of the Year for that year. As you recall, Ms. Sue Lowe received that last year, and this is our second year going into it, and this year it is Thad Buchanan with the Lowell Public Works Department, specifically the Water and Sewer Department. And I just want to tell you a little bit about why Thad was chosen. So Thad took over as the Water and Sewer Superintendent position after one of our staff members retired. He had been with the city for several years, and that recommendation came from across multiple departments, not just Public Works departments. We see Thad in here a lot in City Hall coming to pick up work orders, even stepping outside the bounds of just Water and Sewer Department. His great work ethic and his positive attitude went into that deliberation of the 2023 Employee of the Year. And at this time, if Thomas, would you like to mention anything as well? Just go up there to the podium.
Yeah, I would just say that, as the city manager said, Thad stepped into a position of authority and responsibility with the retiring of Carl Rollins, and had really stepped up to the plate and really earned the respect and consideration of the other staff in the Public Works Department since taking on that role. He has stepped outside of his bounds. Being local, he's a huge asset to Lowell because he's always a go-to guy probably for just about every department that we have within the city of Lowell, as well as helping with City Hall projects and Parks and Rec projects and stuff like that. So I believe Thad deserves this because he has become a role model himself within the Public Works Department. A lot of the guys look up to him. They aspire to be where he's at because of the way he does his job and the way he conducts himself.
Thank you, Thomas. And Thad, if you step forward, brief minute, we won't keep you up here long. Come right here in the middle. Now, will you get us a picture, please, sir? Come on up here. So this is your trophy for Employee of the Year 2023. We appreciate all your hard work. You really mean a lot to everybody here. Get behind them so we can see.
Bring it in. All right. I got you. Well done.
Appreciate that. And I will add that Thad will be throwing out the first pitch for our Lowell Appreciation Night Friday at the Honey Hunters game. It's also City of Lowell night, so come out and let's see him throw a strike Friday night. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Thad. And congratulations. Next on the agenda is the proclamation recognizing the historical significance of Juneteenth and proclaiming June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth. I guess we vote on it first. Should we vote first? Okay. I'm going to read you the proclamation. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas the celebration of the end of slavery, which became known as Juneteenth, is the oldest known celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States, when Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865, bringing news from that the Civil War had ended and that the Emancipation Proclamation had declared all enslaved people free nearly 2.5 years earlier. And whereas the first Juneteenth celebration was a time for reassurance and celebration within communities throughout the country that promote and cultivates knowledge and appreciation of the African American history and culture, while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all people and cultures. And whereas this year's Juneteenth celebrations taking place in Gaston County during the period of Friday, June the 16th through Monday, June the 19th. On Friday, there will be a Juneteenth celebration at Centennial Park in Bessemer City. On Saturday, there will be a Juneteenth celebration at Stowe Park in Belmont, an Ebony Fest Juneteenth festival at the Rotary Pavilion in Gastonia, and a Juneteenth celebration on Main Street in Cherryville. There will also be a Juneteenth Health Festival on Saturday at Contegra Family Medicine in Gastonia. Lastly, the Ebony Fest Juneteenth Festival at the Rotary Pavilion in Gastonia will continue Saturday and Monday. Now therefore, I, Sandy Rayleigh, Mayor and City Council of the City of Lowell, do hereby declare June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth in the City of Lowell, North Carolina, and urge all citizens to join in celebrating a day so significant in the history and heritage of our nation and city. In the witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Lowell to be affixed this 13th day of June in the year of our Lord 2023.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we receive this proclamation concerning Juneteenth.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay. And the motion passed. Thank you, unanimously. Okay. Next, we have our consent agenda, which you see on your report, and that will be a one vote, yeah, unless someone wants to pull anything from the consent agenda.
I'd just like to say that I've seen Todd out working. He's our mapping guy, and I think we've got about I think we have about 37 miles, and I've seen him walking all the time, and I asked him earlier if I could go walking with him to, to exercise a little bit, but he's done a real good job with mapping the City of Lowell, and that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay. So I think we all voted motion. Did we do that yet? No, okay. So we'll
Motion
need-
to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay. Motion approved. Okay. Okay, next we have the unfinished business, public hearing for adoption of the fiscal year 2023-24 budget ordinance. This time I need a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion to go to public hearing?
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
right,
right.
that's right.
That's right.
Forgot. It's hard to break old habits. Okay, at this time, I'd like to declare that we are in, declare that we are in public hearing for the adoption of the fiscal year 2023-24 budget ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. So we presented the budget on the last council meeting on May 9th. I will note that there was some more clerical updates that came on the fee schedule. we added in under construction inspections for subdivisions, repeat inspections, anything more than 2 failed inspections will, the developer would be issued a failed inspection notice. That way, if the city has to pay engineers to re-inspect multiple times, there's a way to capture that cost that the city would bear on the fee schedule. That's the update. And then there was an error in the administration budget where there was 2 Christmas decoration line items in error, and that it didn't change anything about the total of the administration budget nor the budget ordinance, but that was just reallocated to where it was supposed to be in beautification. This year, we added back an old line item on the expense budget that is called Christmas decorations, so it's clear that there's a certain amount that has to be budgeted for Christmas lights, trees, every year we have to update all those materials to keep up with the decorations. So just wanted to call attention to that, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you may have on the budget.
Okay. Yes, actually, we did have a public comment to come in for this, so I guess Candy will read that now.
Sure.
This is from Carolyn Watt. She lives at 1022 Margaret Drive. After looking at the proposed 2024 budget, it appears that some of the increased tax revenue from the revaluation could be used as a tax reduction of 3 to 5 cents and still have an excess in the general fund of over the desired 50%. The increased tax burden due to the reevaluation is a hardship to many of our citizens. A decrease in the tax base, as we see in many of the surrounding towns, would show that the city is working for the good of the residents as well as looking forward toward growth. Without even a small drop in the tax rate, it would seem that the city does not care about the current residents. Respectfully submitted, Carolyn Watt.
Okay. Any questions from the council? Comments?
They need to speak. Public comments.
Well, no,
Oh,
but
I'm
we do
sorry.
ours
Okay,
first.
I'm sorry.
I'll take public comments from the council now, public in just a few minutes, if there are any.
So we're discussing the budget now, or?
If you have any questions or comments.
Okay, I have a few. Okay, in this year's budget, proposed are 7 full-time positions, 2 part-time positions, and a K-9 dog. And within the departments now, there's also a few changes to be made, pay grade upgrades, plus a 5% COLA. I feel at this time that we don't need all these positions. This is a 5-year plan, and I feel like we will need these positions, but not in this budget. Okay, and then also, my concern has been the whole time in the last 3 or 4 years to give our citizens at least a 3 cents tax reduction. And I went and looked through the budget several times, and we can reduce it by 3 cents by taking it out of the CIF, which is a good fund that we started. It's a community investment fund for future building of the new public works, city hall and police department and infrastructure, plus a lot more. But if we take 3 cents out, and it would be 46 cents, I have all the figures here, you know, if I need to go over them, or I showed this to Scott, and he says it can be done, but we have to do some. $403, it would be $233,738. That's still a lot to CIF, but it won't, it's not, you know, it's $172,665 less than what's projected to go into the CIF. And if I'm wrong with my figures, Scott, you let me know. But I've taken this from our budget, done all the math, had people look over it, and that would give us a 3 cents tax cut, from 49 cents to 46 cents. And my reevaluation, my personal went 45%. I appealed it and was rejected. And I'm on a fixed income, and I know there's a lot of citizens on fixed incomes, and then there are seniors here. And with the fire department going to the county a couple years ago, we had talked about giving a tax break of 3 cents, and we did not do it then. And I just feel like now, since we're getting all this extra money in, would be a great time to do that for our citizens, to let them know that we care about them and that we're not greedy. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I agree with Candy. She's done her homework, and 3 cents, and according to what she said to the city managers now, it's not gonna hurt. And like she said, we can't do it all in a 5-year period. Sometimes you have to take a little time to get things done, so, I just agree with her that that CIF plan can just kind of be reduced a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. If not,
Thank you. I'm ashamed of each and every one of you. Yeah, thank you. None of you can count. That's evident. I just told you tonight it's $580 million. $580 million is the valuation.
listen to this.
Go ahead, Mayor.
you're
You're on
gonna
TV. Go ahead.
I will have you removed, and you won't be able to say anything. So which do you want? Do you want to be nice?
I have the floor.
Do you want to say it nicely, or do you want me to have you removed and you don't get to say it at all? It's your choice, Larry. It's your choice.
You're the mayor.
Okay.
I'm not the mayor.
Nicely.
Let me
You
understand.
can say it nicely.
Let's work together, all right? And let's
Let's do it.
understand this. You live here too, Mayor. I guess, unless you've already changed your residence wherever you're going, I don't know. But if you live here, listen, Attaway, you don't live here. Cheryl does. But for the most part, the folks in this hierarchy that you call it up here, this mansion of stupidity, is not helping the citizens of Lowell. We're talking about the citizens of Lowell having to pay double taxes. Double taxes.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to explain to you is $590 million is what David Turberfield said today, and Attaway knows this. And you start my 5 minutes back, please. But anyway, and if you base this upon it, our taxes are doubling. We're doubling our tax rate. Listen, we buy 40 million gallons of water from Gastonia every month. I've got the records right there. He knows that. You should know that, but he don't tell you nothing. Just like he don't tell you anything about what goes on, he expects you to vote on the fly. Just like he did on that dump on Saxony Avenue. It didn't work. But here's the thing about it. You need to cut these taxes down to about 40 cents, and you're still going to make a heck of a profit. And let's go a little bit further. $500,000 on Gateway, and you're giving them back 85%. They're only paying $75,000 a year, and Candy wants to give you 3 cents to the poor people sitting out here paying all the bills. Stop the BS. Let's do what's right. Cut these taxes. Take care of the people living here. I tried to call each and every one, Joey, and I tried to tell you about this water. And listen, not all these municipalities in this county charge a water runoff fee. He's telling you that you have to charge a water runoff fee or you can't use the sewer. The biggest lies ever told. McCannville charges nothing. Cherryville charges nothing. 2 other municipalities charges nothing. We need to do our math. We need to do our research. Don't take his word. He don't give a flip about Lowell. He don't live here. If he lived here, I agree with you. He don't pay these taxes. He's doubling our taxes. His taxes got cut in Gastonia. We didn't. Bonham, you don't pay no taxes on gas except on your truck. But we need to get people in here that wants to work for the city of Lowell and take care of our people. And thank you for your 5 minutes, and you can have your gavel back. Let's go, Sandy. Good night.
Should have thrown him out.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Madam Mayor, council members, Scott and the staff, I'm proud of all of you. Lowell has been around
Ed.
a long, long time. My name's Ed Jackson. I do not live in Lowell, but I have a lot of interest in property here, pay a lot of taxes. And the town's been good to me. I've dealt with Lowell for a little over 50 years. I've seen good councils, and I've seen the radical bunch that thinks we need to live in the 30s and 40s. I've seen them come in on the first night after swearing in of a new council and fire the manager and the police chief, or a manager in another case, or in the third case in that 50-year cycle of seeing a disruptive council make life hell for the city manager. If he hadn't been as tough as he was, he'd have run off and left us in a bigger mess. I listened last month to every detail Scott gave on this budget. Last year, you got a 14% increase in the tax base by eliminating the fire department. This year, without Newell or whatever you want to call it, the tax base has increased about 28%. I'm glad to see you planning ahead because we need to catch up. But I honestly think for safety's sake and for the care of the citizens, it'd be smart to look at a 3 or 4 cent reduction in the tax rate. Part of what Scott laid out for all these new positions are based on a little bit of timeline. You got several things that are coming on now. All the stuff with Spencer Mountain, I've talked with the property owners, and I have had contact with the company who is now under contract to develop those other 400 or whatever homes over there. They have told me that it will be a miracle if you got a tax base from the Spencer Mountain property in less than 3 years. I think for the safety of the people, for the safety of this council that's doing a good job, the management that's doing a good job, you need to look at a 3 or 4 cent reduction in that tax rate. It'll help a lot of people. It won't necessarily hurt the city. If you need to raise the budget next year a penny or two when there's a justified need, that'd be great. But I want to see all of you back up here again, and I thank you for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Patrick Mumford with the Gaston Business Association. I'm at 601 West Franklin Boulevard. I was able to attend one of your retreats in McAdenville a few months ago, and I just want to start with how impressed I am with the thoughtfulness that you put into this. Clearly, there are a lot of different directions you can take when you're setting a tax rate. You have to deal with the current pressures as well as the growth pressures coming. You certainly have to address, as was brought up before, the people that live here today, but what happens with the next generation? What is here in Lowell to bring them back? So you're wrestling with some tough issues. Where you land is not as important to me as the process that you've taken to really be thoughtful about balancing current needs, long-term needs, infrastructure investments. I've read through the budget. I think the manager did a very good job of laying it all out. And yes, some things can be brought down or bumped up, but I think sticking to your strategy that you've laid out for the future of this community is clearly important, and it's compelling because I saw you in action. That's how you're approaching this. So wherever you land, I hope is in a place of understanding future needs, understanding debt service for debt capacity. Growth is, we've talked about this before, growth is not going to stop. It's going to come. Everything is relative. Lowell is a wonderful community. It's attractive to a lot of people and continue to be so. Let's prepare this community for the future so that we have children coming back here and it continues to grow in a way where multiple generations can benefit from your good decisions today. So thank you for the interest you've taken into everybody's comments and for the approach that you've taken to have a balanced, intentional setting of this tax rate that will serve the current constituency as well as the future of this community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Patrick.
I don't have to touch anything, do I?
You're fine.
Good evening. I'm Mark Jordan. I'm President and CEO of the Montcross Area Chamber of Commerce. So you're getting your dose of business associations here tonight. Like Patrick, you're right, I don't live here. But I have members who live here and do business here, and that's who we represent, as well as you as our partner. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with you as the elected body and as of the city of Lowell. I'm really here tonight to speak, you know, we have to put trust in the leadership and in the professional staff. And let me say without a doubt, we have tremendous trust in you. And we have tremendous trust in your professional leadership. We see the challenges, we see what you have to go through, and we admire you for the courage and the leadership that you provide. I am here tonight to speak in favor of the city manager's budget recommendation for fiscal year 23-24. We have to rely on the professional expertise, and that's what we are doing. In so doing, I also applaud the leadership that each of you are providing to the city in so many ways, and in particular for your stewardship of tax dollars under your supervision and guidance. This leadership is evident in a number of ways as we review the enormous challenges you have faced and continue to face. And I went through all of the material. To tell you I understand everything that's in there would be an absolute lie, because there's no way a layperson can understand everything that's in there. You're under a lot of challenges and oversight, so I appreciate that. But the leadership you have provided in adopting your fiscal year 22-24 strategic vision and goals, which emphasize the importance of recognizing human resources, in particular your staff, to maintain a high level of service and positioning Lowell to address new infrastructure needs in order to keep up with the demands of the city. And those demands are going to grow. You're positioned in an enviable spot, and you know what's going to happen in the future. I also applaud the leadership you have shown during the council budget planning sessions and subsequent planning budget meetings in establishing a fund for existing and future capital expenditures, which offer Lowell an opportunity to leverage a proven tool to help ensure future success. As I understand, this will be funded by the current fund balance that exceeds 50% of the general fund expenditure goal. And 3, the leadership you have provided for the planning and funding of capital improvements by using sound financial management and responsible stewardship. Your strong debt policies and debt modeling have served the city well, and this doesn't just happen. You have to be an active part in doing that, and you've done that. The City of Lowell's fiscal position is positive today due to your conservative fiscal management and strict adherence to your adopted fiscal policies. If you did the proposal for fiscal year 23-24, including the use of funds as outlined, it is my understanding that no change in the tax rate is required, while continuing to invest in the needs of your citizens and a growing municipality and the infrastructure required for its support and growth. You are the only ones that can determine that. I think we as really outsiders and partners, we rely upon your leadership for that. This is more evidence of the leadership you are providing to assure a strong city, attracting new business and adding to the tax base. Real leadership occurs when you collectively make the right decisions based on the facts and what you determine is in the best interest of everyone for the future. I believe you're doing that, and we applaud you for it. And we recognize the challenges that you face trying to do that, and we appreciate you. Thanks for all you're doing to make our entire county stronger, which we guarantee you it is because of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time? Okay. Anyone on council who would like to speak?
I just have a couple things to say. This is a future building budget. I mean, law is gonna change, we all know that. We have to prepare, we don't need to get caught in the dark a year from now and not be prepared. We planned for an 18% water increase, we were gonna have to. I mean, there was no way around it. We squashed that, you know, we'll eat that, that's fine. You know, we've had 20 hours of meetings to cover all this stuff, and I think they went great, we've learned a lot, and it's a lot to go through. But I think it's a great budget, and I think it will definitely fill the needs of this city presently and for the future.
We could also cut the tax rate by 3 cents and approve everything else,
You cut the tax rate by 3 cents.
and still fund everything.
I don't believe that's correct.
I mean,
Am I right?
for this budget, I'm not talking about the future, or what we went over, that you showed me the graph, that we may not be able to do public works on this date you had projected, it could just be put off a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything in this budget could pass with a 3 cents tax cut, is that correct?
Yeah, we had that discussion, and your mention of dropping 3 cents out of the SIF, yes, that would affect that 5-year general fund CIP is what
But it
you're
could be
referring
done.
to, where you're talking
Just
about.
put less money into CIF.
Yes, yeah, and, yeah, so that Public Works was slated for 2024, City Hall Police Complex in 2028, so those would get
Move up.
shifted, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, well, I thank Mr. Munn and Belmont Montrose for coming. I want to say that I truly have great respect for our corporate citizen. I'm talking about Mr. Ed Jackson. You heard him say that 2 or 3 cents wouldn't hurt. And the reason I say that is because if you go down South Main Street, you will see the work and the investment that he and his other business associates are putting into this city. He is an active member, corporate citizen of Lowell. And Candy has done her homework, and I really feel that, like you say, you can't do it all overnight, but it can be done, and we're moving in the right direction. So I want you to know I appreciate you, Mr. Jackson. I thank you for coming tonight, and your words mean a lot to me, as does the chambers. But I just know that we need to help our citizens as well as grow our CIF fund. But I think you're right, and Candy's done her homework, and I just agree that, I agree we can do this thing, but we don't have to do it all overnight. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I could speak
Yes.
for 1 minute. As it relates to the SIF, it is my opinion and belief that that needs to be funded now. Any reduction in the SIF will just rely on future councils to approve an increase to fund something, which puts us exponentially behind the timeline that we need new buildings today. All right, so we're not funding something in '24 if we take 3 cents, 4 cents out of the SIF. It doesn't just automatically move it to 25, assuming that you'll improve an increase next year. That's not automatic. We have an obligation and a job to do what we need to do today. And as much as I would like to say I would want to, what we have to do and be good stewards of this city is approve this budget as it is. And regardless of whether or not I'm up for reelection in November or not, even if I were, I'm not voting in fear. I was elected to do a job, and I'm here to do the job in the best interest of this city and the citizens that we serve, election or not. We've got to approve this budget as presented. That is my thought. Thank you.
It's only $172,665 difference. I'm sorry, it's only $172,665 difference from the budget that would not go into the SIF. It's not a whole lot of money for a 3 cents tax reduction.
Recess?
Recess, you can.
Need to take, 5, 10 minutes for recess, please.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to say, some of the facts have been presented here tonight, and it wasn't anything to do with, for anybody's fault. I don't even know who's running on this board or not running. I mean, you probably might have a gaggle full of people running, so it's just the fact that you have to vote your conviction and your heart on whatever you're dealing with. So I wouldn't say re-election, nothing, that's in the hands of the people. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Here, there? No? Okay. Then I declare this public hearing is closed.
I like that. That's
You like
new.
that
That's-
better?
That's new, but
It's
I
new
like
for
that.
me, yes. So with that being said, we'll take a vote. I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the adoption of the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance.
Second, as presented.
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we cut the budget by 3 cents.
Second that.
Well, I think you can only have one motion at a time. So
Okay.
once there's a motion and a second, you have to go through to a vote on that. If the vote is not successful, sorry. So you can only, our rules of procedure only allow one motion at a time.
Okay.
So if someone wanted to withdraw a motion, you can do that, but otherwise you have a motion and a second. The council has a duty to vote on that motion. If the outcome is not in favor, then it goes back to the floor to have alternate motions.
Sorry, thank
That's
you.
all right.
Okay, so we'll go back to the original motion, which was Travis.
Second, votes on the floor.
Votes on the floor.
Oh, we
Okay.
vote here, right? Does it, I didn't show up.
Okay,
And Cheryl, if you could tell us how the motion, once they all come in.
I did, but I think it undid me or something. Of course, is that right?
So I have that the motion passed with 2 nays and 4.
Three. Three. I don't vote.
People how this goes on the YouTube channel. It shows who votes for, who votes against. That's just the technology of the.
Okay. So,
Is required, and so the motion having 3 in favor and 2 against, the motion passes.
okay.
And that would resolve item, where are we? 5A, unfinished business.
Okay. Okay, so next on the agenda is new business. 6A, selection of engineering firm for water system, asset inventory and assessments project.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff advertised a request for qualifications for the Water Asset Inventory and Assessment Project. That's a $150,000 grant that the city received to map the water line infrastructure of the city from North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, funded in whole by that $150,000 grant. We received one response back from that RFQ from the Wooten engineering firm. We have worked with Wooten on the prior sewer asset inventories assessment grant. They did a good job, so it would be staff's recommendation to approve them,
Okay.
Wooten.
Any questions or comments? From council.
Just out of curiosity, how many did we send requests out to? And in your opinion, what is the reason why we're not getting quotes back? Is it people are too busy, they're understaffed? What do you think that is?
Yeah,
Only
we-
to get one back is kind of a bit.
Yeah, we received several responses, and they asked us who prepared the RFQ, because this grant allows an engineering firm to help us prepare the RFQ. And we told them it was Wooten, and they decided not to submit for it. So, and one engineering firm did mention it cost them about $10,000 to do the legwork to submit the RFQ every time they do that, at least that particular engineering firm that said that.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Make a motion to accept the Wooten Company as the water system asset and investment project.
That's it. Inventory and assessment.
Inventory and assessment, I'll apologize, project.
Second.
And approved unanimously. Okay, next is the resolution RS 5-2023, 2023, to accept Carolina Thread Trail Grant in the amount of $127,080.
Thank you, Mayor. As you all know, Thread Trail for 127,080. That is to construct approximately half of the thread trail in Lowell along the South Fork River. So this is a resolution to accept those grant funds, and you do not need to read this out.
Okay.
Just need a vote on it.
Okay. Motion and second on the floor. Okay. That was weird. They're all grade. Is that right?
This is almost like the scanner in the grocery store.
I know. That doesn't work.
Still waiting?
No.
He's not manually voting, right?
Okay. Yeah, we have a motion and a second on the floor, so all in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Oh, there it is. It went green, yay.
The YouTube upload is.
Oh, it's slow. Okay, gotcha. Okay, next is, contract amendment for CDBG-NR Construction Management Services.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we are using Centralina to manage the CDBG NR projects. That's for the rehabilitation of the homes that were identified, and also the community center exterior remodel. With some of the homes, timelines of doing those repairs were in the last stretch of those homes now. As you all know, we just awarded that contract, I believe, the May 9th meeting to remodel those homes. And then the community center, there are some delays on the windows, ordering some sashes and exterior doors. So it's going to push us beyond the original contract with Centralina. So this is an extension. And this budget revision will be $9,548, all paid by that CDBG grant that we received. So we would need a motion to approve the contract extension with Centralina.
Okay.
Motion to approve the contract extension with Centralina. Do we want to include in the dollar amount of $95.48 in that? Okay.
Second.
Okay. Phil, did you vote? It's not highlighted. There we go. Okay. Motion passed unanimously. Okay, next is the budget amendment 3, fiscal year 2022 to 2023.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn this over to our Finance Director, Lisa Nolan, to give a brief description of this budget amendment.
Thank you, Council and Mayor. This budget amendment number 3 is up for consideration. This is using ARPA funds for the grant match for the Carolina Thread Trail grant that we just received. It's a $50,000 match. If you have any.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Comments? Okay.
Motion to approve budget amendment number 3, $50,000 match.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Oh, why do I keep doing that? Okay, motion passed unanimously. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, next is amended grant project ordinance, ARPA.
Mayor, I'm going to turn this over again. She's got in a row.
That you just passed for budget amendment number 3. And this is just the recommendation to ensure compliance with this particular grant. So.
We have a monitoring visit coming up with our ARPA that we routinely do with Centralina to make sure that we're keeping it in federal guidelines of managing that grant. And this would be a good item to have before that meeting next week.
Okey-doke. So we need a vote. Motion.
Make a motion to amend grant project ordinance for ARPA.
Can we have a motion on the floor?
Second.
And a second? That was motion by Travis Smith. There we go. Travis, you're not showing up. There you go. Okay, motion passed unanimously.
A brief our banking relationship, now that we lost our bank that we used to bank at, as far as them having a location, City of Lowell city limits. And then Lisa's going to get into a little bit about what our fiscal policy says, that we should revisit this every 5 years. So I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you. According to our fiscal policy in Article 5, Cash Management Part D, Banking Relations, Section 2, Review of Banking Relationship. The council will review the banking relationships at their discretion, but at least every 5 years. Per fiscal policy, Article 5, Cash Management Part D, Banking Relations, Section 1, Bank Selection. Banking service providers will be evaluated and selected by council through a competitive proposal process. Staff submitted a request for proposals to local banks for review for consideration of providing banking services for the city of Lowell. Staff directly solicited 8 local banks via email. Per statute, this was also advertised in the paper and posted on the city's website. Staff emailed the request for proposal on April 3rd, 2023 to local banks to facilitate the bidding process. I've listed here the time frame for the completion of the RFPs. It was also stated in the RFP distribution on April 3rd. The optional pre-bid meeting on May 2nd here at City Hall with the banks that wanted to attend. May 13th was the deadline for the receipt of the RFPs. May 26th, staff review and recommendation completed. June 13th, July period would begin, and October 1st, 2023, full implementation of banking services. We received RFPs from 4 local banks. We conducted a meeting with the selection committee to review and score each bank's proposal on the evaluation and selection criteria as noted in the RFP. And I have attached the scoring metrics for your review as well. If you want a little bit more detail about this, please feel free to ask. Based on the scoring metrics, First Horizon scored the highest. That was based upon them being able to provide us with what we needed, as well as the overall cost for that banking services. We do recommend selecting First Horizon. It would be very beneficial to the city of Lowell. First Horizon would provide the best return on investment of Lowell's idle funds. This would also help the city to be able to meet the investment objective as stated in our fiscal policy, which is Article 5, Cash Management, Part E, Investment, Section 2, Investment Objective. The city will preserve capital and invest public funds in a manner which provides the highest investment return with the maximum security while meeting the daily cash flow demands of the city, while doing so in compliance with all state statutes and other applicable laws governing the investment of public funds. The city's investment portfolio will be designed with the objective of attaining a market rate of return while minimizing risk and retaining liquidity. And if anybody has any questions.
Because Truist moved, or we had to do it anyway every 5 years?
Yes.
Doesn't matter, I'll just.
Councilwoman, yes, we're supposed to do this every 5 years per our fiscal policy, and I found no record of when it was done last. So it was definitely due to look for proposals, and I think in search of these proposals and the RFP scoring metrics, we did find out that there's a better option out there.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? From the board?
Quick for Lisa, if I may. Are you satisfied with First Horizon? Because I do see that they scored higher than any of the rest of them. Are you satisfied with them, Lisa?
Yes, sir, I am. They will provide us with the most return on our investment, even with the cost of them providing our banking services. They still would provide us the most return on our investment.
And that was one of the major deciding factors, because the locations and proximity to branches, they're pretty similar.
They're all within 4 miles.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar. There's 3 branches that come to mind in Gaston County from First Horizon. And so there was very close on some of those items, but the annual cost of the account itself, and then the return of investment on those idle funds. And that's what I believe pushed them over the top. And also, their experience, they have a school system that banks with them. They submitted all their references, and there was one bank that had no local government or state government sort of references. So that was a separate metric on the scoring.
Motion to approve First Horizon as the selection for the bank for the city of Lovell.
Second.
Is that okay?
Okay, Thomas, you're not showing up. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. And the vote passed unanimously. Okay, next is request to set public hearing, text amendment, Article 8, Sections 8.4-10E and 2, General Standards and Specifications.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request from the planning director to set a public hearing at the July council meeting to hear this text amendment. And brief, this text amendment is applicable to the industrial zoning district. He discovered, and also through his planning board, that the corner lot side setbacks of the existing industrial development do not really offer redevelopment of industrial tracts of land along our main corridors. You know, this isn't about, like, say, an industrial park that we have that has already been approved and built out, but other parcels throughout the city. And so the request that carried through a planning board approved vote was to reduce that from 80 feet down to 40 feet. And that also mimics our previous ordinance of how it addressed industrial setbacks as well. And there's some other information that was in the packet about the buffers are already there. Like the widest buffer that we have is a 40-foot buffer. So that if they trigger that type A buffer, they are gonna have 40 feet of landscape buffering in between, and then have sidewalk, green strip along the road, all that stuff, and then have to inset the building even more anyway. So sort of another cleanup item that Joe has discovered. So we just request to set public hearing for July 11th.
Motion to set a public hearing, July 11th, for, do I need to read that out?
You can just read it by the CTA 2304. Zoning text amendment 2304.
Text amendment, Article 8, Section 8.4-10, for July the 11th, 2023, at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Approved unanimously. Okay, next is consideration of bids for erosion sediment control.
Thank you, Mayor. As you all know, our sediment erosion control plan was approved by NCDEQ for the former Crompton Knowles Yorkshire America site. This is not ready for any deliberation tonight. This will come next at the July council meeting. So we didn't get in the bids that we needed to get in. So we'll revisit this in July. No actions needed.
No action, okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is this the last action required before contracts are awarded? Is this the last thing that we know of we need to get settled before we can move forward?
Yes, we have to get the erosion control contractor out there so that they can set up the initial silt fencing barriers.
Right.
It's a lot more than that, though, because our engineer drafted this plan, and they're going to be taking down buildings in like clusters of 1, 2, 3 a piece at a time, and they're going to have their own measures around them and how we backfill from removing those slabs, bringing it back up to grade and all that. So it's a good bit of work. It's a lot more than just, say, a silt fence around the site.
Right.
Yeah.
To those that may not know, the erosion control piece is extremely important, but it came late in the game. We weren't aware of this requirement when we set schedules or propose schedules early on. Is that correct?
That's correct,
This
yeah.
kind of came up, and oh, by the way, what is this? How do you plan to mitigate this?
It was not in
This
the
is where
original
we are.
bid
Right.
document packet for the demolition award.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have reports and discussions. John?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I do not have anything tonight.
Okay. Scott?
Yes, Mayor, I have a few things, thank you. So we have an update on the former Pulte development. We have received submittals from Lennar Homes to build that development along North Main or Lowell Spencer Mountain Road. I have the term of Spencer Ridge Development now, so that's what we'll be referring to it as, not Pulte or formerly Pulte anymore. That was just for clarification, but Spencer Ridge Development. So Joe has received a lot of documentation he's working on. Their submittal, they've requested, or I think they've submitted their preliminary capacity assurance for water and sewer, and so we're working through that with all of our staff and engineers, and you'll see some of those items come in front of this board soon. And then also an update on the Beacon Properties development that was located in McAdenville. I got notification from the property owner that that development has decided to pull out. So we'll be revoking that preliminary capacity assurance that we had approved for the sewer services of that project. Next, we're still working on some items at McCord Park. Pretty much finished up the landscape and a couple items. Several gyms and things like that. Can we go out here on a Saturday morning and have an hour or two fitness program? And so staff is working to draft up a policy to bring to you all to handle all those requests on that park project. It's great to see all that attention to the park. Had some great events there so far. An update on the Lead for North Carolina program. We did select a lead fellow to be with the city starting in August. They'll be with us for 11 months. This is a program from the UNC School of Government, and we're very excited to have won this. It's a pretty competitive process to be awarded the Lead for North Carolina fellow. I brought her in last Friday. Her name's Amaya. We brought her in last Friday to discuss kind of a lot of the projects that she'll be working on once she gets out of about 2 weeks of training in July in Chapel Hill. She'll go up for that. And so we'll have her working across all departments on a lot of policy updates and things like that. She is a political science major and a minor in law from Wingate University. So we'll have her at the August council meeting for you all for introductions and everything. And then you'll see a lot of Amaya around Lowell. CDBG updates, I just wanted to mention that we're getting close on the community center, as I mentioned before. There is a holdup on ordering the doors, all the exterior doors and those couple windows, but the contractor's working through that several weeks. Also, we did find that one of our 6 houses that we were expecting to be able to use those rehabilitation funds to fix up those houses, the 6th one was taken out because it exceeded the dollar amount that the state allows you to do. What is it, Cheryl? 70,000, and this one was over $100,000 of work, so it took away from all the other ones in trying to balance the remainder of that grant to get as much done. It also exceeded the tax value of the home, the repairs. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Joanna, you got anything?
I just want to say thank you to Scott for the hard work that you've put in on this budget, for the budget retreats that we had, the preparations that you made for those, the guests that you had, the speakers that came in to help us better understand this budget. in the end, we have to remain consistent in what we're doing, and we have to stay focused on where we want to go. There's a lot of disagreement about the 3 cents, what the 3 cents could bring us, but we also know, you know, and if we had chose to do that, where that would have put us and how many years down the road that would have kind of put us off. But the bottom line is, and when we start talking about elections, I just want everybody to remember that your councilman, your mayor, your pro tem, it's a title. It's a title, and if you're not enough with it, you will never be enough without it.
That's right. Phil, you got anything?
Thank you, Joni. I just have a couple quick things. I usually don't speak, but there are 2 things I want to speak on tonight. First of all is the proposed, which is now dead, and we don't need to talk about it anymore, but Project Husky, as we know it, which is the one next to Lowell Elementary in between that far. And I want to touch on this because it is our responsibility as we see things come up to try our best to get people to understand the facts. Now, if there's some out there that want to spew garbage and don't want to listen to the facts, want to know them, but, you know, still want to buck against to make it think, whatever, that is fine. But just to make clear on this sewer thing that everybody's making this big deal about, okay? We agreed to grant them sewer access contingent upon their meeting these requirements, right? That was it. Sewer, not water, sewer. Period. Okay? That was to tap into our wastewater treatment plant, which has capacity. If we kill that, that does not kill the project. They go the other way and they tap into McCadville. The difference with this particular project, and I want everyone to understand, this was a business decision. We can either grant them the access and they pay to move our sewer line and upgrade to meet what they need to do in that space, or we decline them, they go to McCadville, and in our lease agreement with the property owner, we have to pay to move that sewer line that they were going to do anyway. So before stuff gets out there and talked about, oh, you're doing this and you're doing this, understand the facts, understand where you're getting your information from. Okay? It is what it is. That, first of all. Secondly, I think that our city manager and staff does a great job. I appreciate all the hard work they do. We know that we have people out here that are aggravating, that are hard to get along with. I don't oppose giving information to anybody that asks. I don't agree with the bullying and the harassment, and I don't agree with anyone facilitating that bullying and harassment. All right, and so there's some things out there now that we need to try to look into a little bit further on where they came from and how they were directed into here. But we're going to get to the bottom of it. I can tell you that. That's all I got.
Thank you. Candy?
I'd just like to say that I disagree sometimes. Sometimes I've not been nice, and I do apologize if I've not been nice to anybody on this council. I'm very passionate. I just wanted, sorry, and that's going to be the death of me putting on the speaker. Now you got me off. So, but I just wanted to help citizens that I've talked with that's asked me about that, and I did the figures, and it is okay to disagree, and we're going to move along, and I'm going to be right behind everybody. And just because I disagree with salaries or whatever doesn't mean that I don't like the staff that it represents. I love everybody, and will try to help anybody in this community. A lot of y'all know that the volunteering I do, but you know, I respect everybody. We've got good staff. We've got a good city manager, a mayor, and this council. But just because I disagree doesn't mean that I'm upset. I didn't like it. That's okay, and it will be okay. And I am up for re-election, and I didn't do that just for re-election purposes. I don't even know if I'm gonna run or not. But I love this city. I grew up here. And if I can ever do anything for our citizens out there, all you have to do is email me, text me, or call me, and if I don't know the answer right then, you know that I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. Travis?
No, ma'am.
Thomas? No? Okay, well, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody coming tonight. This is usually a tough meeting for us. Sometimes we get yelled at, and I hope I didn't look like I was trying to intimidate anybody or scared you guys for using my gavel. I was hoping it wouldn't fly off the end of it there, but if it did, it would go in the right direction, though. No, I didn't say that. I'm just picking. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming and your support of this council. We try very hard to make hard decisions. And, you know, it's not always pleasant, but, you know, the citizens voted us in here to do a job, and that's what we have to do, good, bad, and the ugly. So, but I do want to say thank you especially to Scott and his whole staff. I mean, there's no way we could do it without them, and they're the gas that keeps us going, you know. But I just want to say thank you. I want to apologize for having to step out of the meeting for a brief few minutes. I think it was just I might have just had a hot flash, I don't know. But I was overcome by heat. So I didn't want to fall out on you and have any ambulances drive in here. So I'm okay now. And so I'm just going to take us right on out to, 5-minute break before closed session. Does that sound good?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so we need to